Welcome to Relationship Coaching Group podcast. Whether this is your first visit or have been following us, don't forget to download this podcast to reference later, because we keep it real with scenarios, tips, and suggestions, everything relationship centered. Hello, I'm Roxanne, your relationship coach and host, along with my co-host, the professor. Together, we've been coaching couples and singles for over 20 years, and we're here to work with you. So get ready for today's podcast, because we're going to be talking about how to get through a first date. Hello, Professor.
Hello, our listeners.
Professor, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember your first date? I know it's been a while, but do you remember that first date that really kind of stuck with you?
Okay. All right. So we're going to do this, are we? So here it goes. My first date in the U.S. We were connected. It's kind of an arranged date. Friends put us together. And we was in Los Angeles. We had gone down to Redondo Beach.
And you don't have to say the name of the place where you went.
I'm not going to say the name of the place because I don't want any flack from anybody. But anyway, back then the restaurant was considered a good restaurant. But anyway, we've gone to the restaurant. We talked on the phone maybe once or twice, gone to the restaurant. And the conversation was very one-sided. I'm asking questions and I'm getting very short answers. But she was telling me a lot about her woes and things going on in her life. And I just listened. And on our way back, dropping her home, because somebody had dropped her at the restaurant. So on the way back, I'm dropping her home. She starts telling me that the money that she used to fix her car was for her rent and she's short. Can I help her? And that kind of just totally threw me off.
Mm-hmm.
And don't ask me how, but I went, okay.
Kind of stumped you there, right?
Yeah. I didn't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, can we go to the bank? That even stumped me even more. And
wow.
Back then, really telling her myself, you could only get a certain amount out of the bank from an ATM.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $200 or $300. So I told her I'd reached my limit and I'd get back with her the next day. So dropped her off, went home. Next day, my phone didn't have.
She blew you up?
Oh, yeah. And as the messages continued, they became more and more provocative, cursing me out, calling me all names under the sun. And yeah, that was it. I didn't call her back, didn't talk to her, nothing.
Wow, that is a red flag. Were there any other red flags on that first date?
Yeah, I think some of the big things for me on that date, apart from what happened at the end, was the lack of communication. It was very one-sided. She really didn't have much to say. I'd ask about things and there were very short answers. And at first I just took it as she's maybe shy. But the thing that stood out to me the most was the way she came to the date.
The restaurant, yeah.
Her dress code, the way what she wore was very revealing, very provocative. Guys were staring at her at the restaurant, and
so that didn't go over well with you.
Yeah,
the attire.
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for that type of stuff. For me, if you're going to go on a date, especially if it's a first date, dress appropriately. I'm a big fan of coffee dates. So if you go on I know there's a lot of young ladies out there. I don't do coffee dates. That's your problem. That's probably why you're single. But
wow.
Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying it because a man today doesn't want to go and spend $300, $400 on a meal and then you don't call him back. So a lot of men today are doing the coffee dates because one, they want to know, are you for real?
Right. we're going to go back to, let me pull you back a little bit.
I know.
Yeah. We're going to
touch the nerve.
Right. We're going to go back to the attire. So the attire, the dressing.
Yeah. Was a little bit too much for me.
Okay. And, you know, we're going to touch on red flags, not on this podcast, but we're going to be discussing red flags on early dating. So,
we'll get back to that.
We'll get back to that. So our podcast for today is getting through that first date and how to get past it, how to get through it. And I've had a lot of people ask me, what do we talk about? What do we do? What do I say? Sometimes I say it. These are from some of my clients. Sometimes I think I'm saying the wrong thing because I never hear back, or maybe I'm not carrying the conversation. So we're going to give you some. There are many levels, but we're going to focus on 3 levels on a first date, and basically how to carry a conversation so that you have some tips on your next first date. So we're going to have 3 levels. Level 1 is icebreakers and light conversation. That's one of the ways to kind of start. And here's some of the things that we're going to be elaborating on. Easy icebreakers, light conversations. For instance, you can ask, how did your week go? What's something that made you laugh recently? These are some of the topics that you could carry on through the opening of a first date. And what's your go-to comfort food? And you can talk about family and siblings, asking more about the family. And here's another one. What type of work do you do? And what do you like most about it? So these are little light icebreakers.
The icebreakers tell a lot about a person. You just have to listen.
Right. Do you have any fresh icebreakers for...
Yeah, like you said, just simple things. How are you doing today? What do you do for a living? Those will matter, because what about if that person is a funeral director or something, and that's not something you want to be with?
Well,
you have to ask those questions.
There'd be a lot of questions about if I had a first date with a funeral director. I have a lot of questions. That would be.
But there's questions the simple questions really lead you into more questions.
Right.
And so people, don't be afraid to ask. The simple one, hi, thanks for coming out for a date. I'm looking forward to this. How was your week? Tell me a bit about your job.
Mm-hmm. Right. These are all
simple icebreakers, and keep it light.
Right, of course.
You don't want to go too heavy, but keep it light. But those icebreakers and you have to listen. When you ask the question, let them speak. And then when there's that opening, then you can ask another one, or wait for them to ask you a question.
Right, because
make it reciprocal.
Right, because when you have little icebreakers and you ask these little questions, of course, many times it'll come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
The questions will come back to you.
Yes, so be prepared with your answer.
Right. Now, level 2, shared interest, everyday life. Here's some of the things how the conversation can go. Do you like to travel? And that's a big thing nowadays, because not only young people, but people of all ages are into traveling now. And you still have some people that do not like to fly. They don't like long trips. So that's one way of kind of getting to know your date. See if you have shared interest. And another one would be, how do you like to spend your free time? What do you like to do on your free time? And again, if you're outgoing and they're not, these are the first date is kind of an eye opener of who that person is, and if it's going to take on to a second date.
Yeah, Because all these little small icebreakers will actually tell you whether that you want to go on that second date. Because if you're an outgoing person and the person you're on the date with is not an outgoing person, then that maybe is not your match.
Right. You know? And first dates are finding out if it leads to a second date, right, and on. But the early stages of dating is how you find out. But again, first dates, that's when you find out if you want a second date.
Absolutely.
And then here's another question. Are you a planner or spontaneous? That is very important, because some people are planners and some just like to go fly by the seat of their pants, as the saying goes.
What are you, a planner or fly by the seat of your pants?
I'm a little bit of both, because there are times when I just want to when I am spontaneous, and there are times when I do want to plan, especially when it's planning something significant that you have to plan for. If you're planning to go to a museum, you kind of want to plan on that, because dates and times matter with the crowd. Yeah. Or if you're planning a little getaway, even a day trip, that might take planning. But some people can just say, "Hey, let's go to the mountains. You know, it's a great day. Nothing really has been planned. Let's go to the mountains." And that could be a problem for some, right, and that could be okay. So you really want to. That's a good question to ask, if they're a planner or spontaneous. And then what about how do you unwind? How do you unwind, Professor, when you're, this is not a first date, but how do you, but it's good to know how people unwind.
Because you have, and this is a great question, because I have a client that just not that long ago met somebody, but come to find out that after 3 dates, she's a bit of a drinker.
Mm. We're going to get into that too.
So, you should ask, because on free time, some people like to go out, party, drink,
go to the bar. And that might not be you.
And that may not be you. So, yeah.
That's a good question.
That's a good question to ask. What do you like doing on your free time?
Yeah.
Because if that's not your energy, then then maybe this is not the person for you.
There may not be a second date.
Right.
If that's
because this young man, when he went on the date, I said, what questions did you ask? He said, we really just kind of talked about the food and the restaurant, and that was it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. First date is really to see if there's red flags.
Yeah, absolutely.
The things that doesn't fit into your lifestyle.
Right.
And level 3, personal values and beliefs. Again, and kind of piggybacking on that, do you have habits, good or bad? Because some habits may not be appealing to one of the parties.
If you're a smoker,
or heavy
drinker, or you partake in the herbal stuff, all those things matter, because not everybody does.
Right.
So, and it's not just that, but everything from your religious beliefs, your political beliefs, all those things matter.
Right.
Especially in today's society.
Yes.
Those play a big part.
Right. Definitely. And that was one of the other questions that could come up. Are you religious, spiritual, or churchgoer, or none of the above?
Right. Because you have people who go to church on a regular basis, but then you have somebody who believes in Christ but doesn't go to church regularly. So is that something that you can deal with? You need somebody to go to church with you.
Right.
So all those things play a big part. If it plays a big part in your life, then does it have to play that part in your person that you're looking at? So all those questions matter.
Right.
And asking that on a first date, getting those things that you want out in a first date, just to kind of test the waters and see. You don't have to go super deep with it, but just to test the waters, because then that lets you know whether, you know what, we really don't align on a lot of things. So I don't think I want to pursue it anymore.
Right. And again, if it plays a big part in your life, these are questions that you may want to bring up on a first date.
Absolutely.
To kind of see where the other party is and to see if that fits in, again, if that fits in your realm of lifestyle, then yeah. And then upbringing. Sometimes that plays a big part in whether or not you kind of want to carry it through another date or further in the dating scene. Upbringing may play a big part in one of the parties.
Absolutely.
Because I've had a client who was brought up by a 2-parent family, and they would actually try to date someone who did not grow up. He grew up in a single parent home where the mom worked a lot. So he was pretty much in charge of the younger siblings. And it didn't really align with her because his values of family was so different. She was very close with her family, and of course he wasn't. And it really, when he would go to an event with her family that her family was giving, he was kind of standoffish because he didn't know how to connect. So it really brought a lot of issues with their relationship, and trying to, work through those issues can be difficult, not impossible, but it may be difficult.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely something to talk about, because you might want someone who has deeper family connections or ties.
Right. That could relate when you have family gatherings.
It doesn't mean that then it's not a possibility.
Right.
But you have to ask those questions.
And you do have situations where it's like that, where the one party has a close relationship with family and the other not. But then when they go to the family, the one who doesn't have a close relationship with their family, when they go to their partner's family outings, gatherings, they are so comfortable. So it's really just a mindset of that person.
Absolutely.
They're comfortable. They love the partner because they feel like he's part of the family.
No, absolutely.
So,
but like you said,
it's a mindset.
It's a mindset, but you have to ask the questions.
Right. And if someone is having issues where they want to connect more with their partner's family, or want to get down those barriers that they may have because of how they were brought up, of course, counseling, relationship coaching could help with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, let me ask you a question. How long do you think a first date should last?
That is a really good question.
Yeah.
So here's my take. So I know this is going to get me, I said in the beginning, I'm a big fan of coffee dates. So I think a date should be based on how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've gone for coffee or eat or whatever, and you're having to pull out a lot of information, or you're not getting the reciprocation that you want, then there's your sign.
But how long should a relationship,
a first date last? It could last up to maybe 2 hours, because you may have a whole lot to talk about. So I probably would say a 2 hours is probably a max window, because you don't want to overdo it.
Right.
But I think 2 hours is a good window. But even an hour, and it really just depends on what you're doing and if the connection is there.
Right. I looked it up. Most first dates last about a half hour. But as coaches, you're right. I feel an hour to 2 hours is great. Maybe the half hour dates are the ones that, okay, but this this is not going to work.
Well, a lot of these half-hour dates.
Maybe that's why it lasted a half hour, because they saw early on, okay, this is not going well.
Yeah, but you have a lot of people who do a half-hour date and then want to see the person again, and they go on that next date and nothing's changed, and then they do another date. You have to know when to say, how many more dates do I have to have before I think this is something that's going to work? In your first date, there are signs, and those signs you should be looking for in those simple questions that you ask.
Right. Yeah, right. Because I remember a first and last date that I had years ago, maybe 100 years ago. But I remember this one where I was invited to dinner on a first date. Great, because I love to eat. So feeding me is a plus. But then when we started talking, it was all about him. It was all about his achievement and his money and what he had. And I knew right then that's not the type of person that I want to have a second date with. So yeah, these are, again, we will have a podcast about red flags on early dating. So please stay tuned for
But there's
that.
a lot of women that will love that, because they don't hear in between the words. They just hear, oh, I flew to Dubai, or I have a Ferrari, or I travel a lot and I do all this.
That may be
a lot of right.
Yeah,
a lot of people only hear that.
Right. And that's sometimes maybe that's what they're looking for, someone who has a lot. Right. But what we're going to do is we're going to close down. And one of the things that I want to say is, with any of these levels, and Professor mentioned it earlier, with any of the levels of the first date, stay present. Listen and respond respectfully and be engaged. Don't just let the other party carry the conversation. You have to be engaged. You have to share in the conversation. And don't make it seem as though this is an interrogation. Don't keep asking questions and not you sharing about you,
right,
about your likes, about your dislikes, about your interests. It's a give and take. Don't make it one-sided. And since when your date is feeling uncomfortable, and you have to move on and keep it light. If you feel your date, if you're asking questions that may strike a nerve, you may want to cover it up and make it light and move on. Have fun.
Yes.
That's important.
Have fun. I can't, yeah.
You have to have
I'm glad
fun.
You said it, because I was getting ready to say it. Have fun. Be yourself. Have fun.
Bring humor into the conversation. Show a fun and playful side.
Absolutely. A guy likes that.
Yes. Well, I think a girl likes that too. So we thank you. Professor, you have any last words?
Yes, I have. And that is, the first date is the date that could be for the rest of your life. So
don't make it a date from hell.
Exactly. Thank you. You took the words right in my mouth. Don't make it a date from hell. And I don't know what your thoughts are, but here's my thought on, if it's not for you, I don't believe in don't call back or anything like that. To me, do the right thing and call and say, hey, look, I enjoyed my evening or whatever, but I just don't think we're a good fit. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, that's good.
And close it out.
Yeah.
Don't leave either party hanging, because then what you're doing is you're leaving that door open. If it's not for you,
close it. That's good.
And don't do it by text. I think that's just...
no, that's a low.
Pick up the phone and say, hey, thanks for the date last night. I enjoyed your company, but I just don't see us aligning. And and I thank you. And I really hope that you find some... Close it out.
That's good.
Don't leave it open.
That's good. Well, thank you, Professor, and thank you, listeners, for being a part of the Relationship Coaching Group community. We so appreciate you. And you can find us at www.relationshipcoachinggroup.com. And if you'd like to email me with maybe topic tips, or if you have anything that you'd like to say, email me at roxanne@myrcgroup.com. And until the next time, speak your needs clearly, listen without interrupting, and remember, you are not alone. We are here together, and we got this.
We got you.
We got this, yes.